All right, so what are we looking at here?
So I brought you here to Blyton Track, if that's all right, to look at the Ford Explorer and at the BMW 530.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is I want to do a bit of a US versus UK pursuit vehicles, what makes them good, what makes them bad, pros and cons, get them around track, and let's see what they can do, if that's all right with yourself.
Yeah. So for you, what do you like the most? You're most used to this British spec, and you can literally see, look at the bull bar on this thing. It's massive.
Yeah.
It's built for different duty.
Yeah, so if you look at from the British police cars to the American police cars, we're all about pursuits, we're all about bendy corners, getting one up on the driver, so to speak, and I'm going to say the essence of driving, where I think American pursuit vehicles are all about grunt, they're all about straight line. I don't think they like corners, all the weight's a little bit off, and they like to pick cars rather than get other tactical placements.
Pit, as in,
spinning around, give them a bit of love tap on back end.
Yeah.
Put him to bed that way, and I just think it's fascinating when you watch videos. You've got like 30 police cars behind one bandit car at 50 mile an hour up a freeway. I personally don't get it. There's no tactics involved, and I want to see which you think's best, and I want to put them side by side.
Brilliant. Well, shall we start with the home turf?
Yep.
We'll take this one out.
Yeah. So we've got a BMW 530
Yeah.
twin turbo, and I think we should get it on track and open it up a little bit.
Happy days. You happy with me driving?
Well, mate, you're a professional, and it's on a racetrack.
If you're watching this video and thinking, I'd quite like to own a powerful car like a police Interceptor, there's something you can use to make sure you buy a decent car that doesn't have fake mileage or a crash history or something unpleasant that you don't want to get involved with. It's called Car Vertical, who are also the sponsors of this video. Now with Car Vertical, all you have to do is punch in the reg or the VIN number of the car you're about to buy into Car Vertical, and you get a full breakdown, a thorough look at the car's history. So let's say you want to buy a powerful four-door coupe like this BMW 5 Series. You put in the reg or the VIN into Car Vertical to get the report, and it's got a yellow warning for crash damage. Twice this car's been crashed. Initially look at the photos, doesn't look too bad, but actually on closer inspection, all the airbags have gone off, and that will affect the value of the car. So you need to know that before you take the plunge. So to make sure you don't buy a car by mistake, use Car Vertical, use the exclusive link in the description below, or my discount code BCD to get 10% off when you use Car Vertical. And thank you guys for sponsoring my video. So I'm just getting myself low in the seat.
You do what I'm very hope. Do you go low?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a racing thing. You always want to be as low as possible.
But I'm designed differently with my body. If you saw me, I'm right weird. I think my top half's 1 inch big, and it's my legs.
Okay.
That are really long.
Hey baby, do those legs go all the way up?
So it's like when I'm sat here now, I think my waist goes up to about here. So it's like when I want to be up a little bit just so I can see.
Do you do that also for observation? Is that making it easier?
Because when I'm down, I don't feel like I'm in proper, this is me personally, I don't feel like I'm in proper control. I want to be so my eye line and my arms are on a level and they're comfortable. And I know we're going about push and pull, and I do odd time, but if you saw me when I come back, my arms cross over, and what I do personally, I get into a relaxed state. So one arm could be there, but as long as I've got one arm holding somewhere and I'm comfortable, I'm happy to, how can I put it, be productive on the steering wheel and use it any way I want to, rather than sit there at 10 to 2, because I think your arms get drained using muscles you don't normally use, you become lethargic and you become complacent. And I think there's a difference, because when I'm driving, you'll be the same, I think, you can feel everything through your steering wheel, and your steering wheel's telling you different things, and like you said, a little bit of stepping out, and it's just a little bit of just, like for me, it's just a little bit of correction. And when back end came out, just a little bit, and I don't think you're going to get that little bit from your what do I do this?
Oh well, we can debate that one.
So well, this is what I mean. So I'll be watching your hands now, and I don't know how you'll do it, but again, it's that little bit. I might have more flow and more feeling through my wheel if my hands are like that, just gently touching and feeling.
It's interesting that you feel that way. So I mean, long distance, I'll do something sloppy, like you say, one hand relaxed.
Yeah.
But as soon as I feel that that's game on, it rains a bit, you feel a bit of, you see some surface water, or you're on a lane or whatever, my hands will come back to the quarter to 3, and then I'm feeling the divining rod. Yeah. What's coming through the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But it's you guys are fantastic at push and pull.
Yeah. So, I understand. Because obviously we all do it, but I think there's a different mode of how you can.
Yeah.
Bigger sweeps, and are you ready to crack?
I am ready to crack. I just thought we'd get a bit of the theory out of the way.
I'm ready with that.
I'm well aware that mentally you're going to be sitting there with your notepad. But
how do you feel now? Because again, for BMWs, I've always found pedals are too fast, right?
Too far to the right?
Yeah, I've always found they're slightly offset to bodies.
Interesting.
Have you never realised that?
Never realised that, but now I'm be going around.
If you go around and feel...
Thinking my legs are like spaghetti, because you've blown my mind with that. I've never thought about that. They are a bit as well.
They're always a little bit too far to right BMW pedals.
But you like them?
Well, the reason being is the amount of pursuits I've had in the amount of crashes, I always get a display slip on my right hand side. If I put my foot on brake, hitting something, or weight transfer comes up, displaces me. And it's always because BMW have said that they offset the pedals.
Bloody hell.
Whether someone from BMW wants to ring us...
How many of these have you crashed then?
You got what's the other way around. How many haven't I crashed?
Really?
And it's not me crashing, it's reverse rams, it's people running into you, it's other things that lead it to the crash, so to speak.
Well, out of the box, this feels pretty good. It feels a little bit old. There's a bit. The steering wheel's a bit slack.
Yeah.
And it just feels like the suspension's not as crisp as it was when it rolled out of the factory. So there's a bit more body roll. That's my initial sensation. But they're still a lovely car. Yeah, you can feel.
So like that.
A little bit of creep from the rear when you gas up on the rear wheel drive.
Do you find it front heavy when you're coming into a bend now? If you feel it, I find it like there's a lot of weight over those front two wheels, and especially with roll it's got.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very slippery. I don't know if that's because the tyres are old. I'm surprised that it's that loose.
That's how I was pursuing you.
Yeah, I might just turn the traction control off at this point just to feel what it's like, but it's probably better with it on. Yeah, it's interesting. Because the car, usually BMs are set up relatively stiff.
Yeah, the 330s handle a lot better than how this handles. It was coming around the track, and now I've been with you. See, to me there, that's a good bit of weight transfer on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprisingly slippery actually. But it's interesting to go back to like seating position, because I suspect you might like that. Is it a Ford Explorer?
Yeah.
Yeah. With a higher position, and even though it's a heavier car, it's probably got good, good traction in these conditions. Because this, I'll put the traction back on, otherwise it's going to look like
too whippy?
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to behave
just stops
myself.
it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm watching your hands, and I do exactly what you're doing now.
So so you guys call it rotational steering, don't you?
Yeah.
So do you do both, or when you're on duty, will you push and pull? That's because it's very much drummed in with the police, isn't it?
Yeah. When I'm on normal patrol, I think a lot of it's just lapsical hour. You said before, because you're never over 25, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You're always in that little bit of a around town stop start. I think when it's game on, and then when it is pursuit time, I think there's a massive difference, and push and pull does become its own when you are involved in a pursuit. You've got a lot to do, like what you'll have now on your right hand. You'll have a stalk, and you'll have to push the yellow button to be able to talk.
Yeah.
So every time, like now, you'll be having to push it in, hold it in. We are now right. We are now left. So if you think about where your hands are going to be and you push and pull, that's where it's going to have to hold on to at all times.
I think that's what it blows me away, is the amount of stuff you have to do when you're doing your pursuit. You've got comms going, you're also coordinating various vehicles to either pin in or cordon something. What do you call it when you kind of like encircle a car?
So we can do a preemptive stop, we can do a tactical box, we can do an offside wrap, a near side wrap, that sort of thing. And again, it's just how you want to bring the pursuit to a safe conclusion.
Yeah.
What do you think to balance?
Well, I've adapted to it now, so now I'm not torturing it and feeding the power a bit more gently for the conditions, and yeah, it's pretty good. You definitely want that little bit of practice time, and it's nice being on a track where you can do that. You're not going to hit something or an oncoming car. But I think if this was your first day out and you got thrown the keys to this, so I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you were saying about how when you have to go out on a shout, you know, get out quickly, it's everybody grabs the keys and there's a pecking order as to what car you get. And you had a favourite. What was it? Had a name? Christine.
Yeah, my VXR. Yeah.
So what VXR, was that a Vectra or?
Vectra V6 2.8 turbo. Now I get told off for saying twin turbo. I know these BMWs are twin turbo, right? But it's a twin scroll turbo. But I just say twin turbo just because it's layman's terms and I'm lazy.
So it's not got two turbos. It's got a dual scroll.
Yeah, it's a dual turbo. So
less lag.
Yeah, less lag, and it picks up from bottom end up all the way at top end.
Yeah, I like it.
And it was a fantastic car, and it looked after me. So every time I got in, it was a sticky situation. And I know Clarkson said before. They don't go well around corners. They don't do this. They don't do that. But I think there's a massive difference when you're driving them on roads with your coefficient of friction, how much your tyres can grip at certain points, and that sort of thing. And it were a good all-round car. Plus, it'd go through a brick wall and come out unscathed.
Right.
Because it were built, obviously, to do the ramming, so to speak.
I think I pressed a button that's taken some power off it. LIM mode or something.
I was going into limp mode.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, limp mode. It's basically in case if you get rammed or whatever, you put it in limp, and it'll just make it go 20 mile an hour or 25 mile an hour. Then it won't do anything over it, so it'll go green on dashboard. It'll say limp, and it's basically in case your car's on its ass.
Really?
It'll write everything off, and it'll just say, "Like, take me back to the pits, put me in," and that sort of thing. So from watching you now, how I do stuff, I put me at a 42 and you at an 89, 90. So just completely different leagues above. You are completely and utterly.
What are we talking about?
Just everything. Just yeah. I think roads are slightly different, but like now going round here and stuff, it's just everything's clockwork, isn't it? It's just you can see how professional it all is. I like late braking as well. I trail brake and stuff, and I don't think. Oh, lovely. I don't think you should be able to brake, stop, go around the corner. I think you should be able to brake into corners.
So this is one of the rules in this car. You shouldn't brake and change down gears at the same time and things like that. But
do you?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I overlap it because obviously you've got the engine braking complementing the braking from the brakes.
If your car needs to do it, it needs to do it.
Yeah. But also for things like snow and ice, the engine braking is so much better for stability and grip.
I think there's a massive difference between someone saying, and this is certain driver training sergeants and things like, you shouldn't be doing this. Well, if the square peg fits the round hole, at some point you've got to do it.
It's been messing around. I better clean up my act. There's a camera looking at me now, so I've got to make it look decent. Yeah, it's funny because the whole brake gear overlap, so not combining the two, it's like a sort of ancient training tool from literally the 1900s when they had to double the clutch down, the gears, rev it in neutral, all that kind of stuff. And it's amazing how it's stuck. But up to your era, you had paddle shifts.
Yeah.
This one's manual, but you're using paddle shifts, and even with an automatic, the car will automatically change down the gears when you press the brakes to slow it down.
Well, my first, my Octavia that I had, the VRS, the V6 2.5 Vectra we had, the Senator we had, all manuals, the VXR. So you're having to work it first.
Yeah.
Before now we've got we've got the DSGs, and they work like a dream, and it puts out one or two things for us.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant.
What's the worst sort of conditions? I mean, this is quite slippery, but you've had to do pursuits and you don't get to choose the time of day or the weather.
No.
So what's the worst weather conditions you've ever had to get involved with?
To me, it's when it's warm and wet. That's when it's really hard for us. I think there's a massive difference between when it's cold. We're always expecting that late braking, cold, wet, rainy. Even snow, when we pursued on snow, everyone can only pursue on a snow road at certain times and at certain speeds. But when we're doing, when it's warm and it's summer and it's gone wet and it's rained heavily and it's like an ice ring, that's hard, is that?
Because it's like it's polished on the top and then the rain sits on top like it's on wax.
Yeah, you can't see the tarmac, you can't see the dry spots, you can't see where it's going to create friction or not.
Okay.
And it's a very, very scary place to be, especially when you're barreling through town centre at 80, 90 mile an hour and a 30 mile an hour limit.
Yeah.
And car in front of you decides to turn right and you're in an outside lane and you're thinking, this ain't going to end well in this. And regardless of how advanced you are, there's still situations where cars have done that. Mrs. Miggins has pulled out on you at a certain speed, and you're like, why have you not seen me approaching?
Hey Dad, how come they let old people drive?
I think that's the big difference. I mean, for me, visually, it's all about, I'm looking at apexes, looking through apexes, looking ahead.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing we'd have in common is looking further ahead to be able to manage speed. That's why it buys you more time. But
yeah. So
my references are quite limited compared to what you're having, because like you said, people can pull out on you. You have to look wide as well, don't you?
We've got to look at a danger aspect, which is before. But if we could see right round there now, we'd be looking down there on a pursuit, say if I'm putting a car around here, we'll be looking now right down there and thinking, right, I'm going to get a box on a mile down, I'm going to pit it, I'm going to take it out. And then again, you've got to then bring in the danger aspects of people crossing the road, the red light, someone going through a junction, and try and get your plan all in order. And sometimes that plan's not going to work. Sometimes that plan needs to be flexible. And I think that's what makes, and I don't say a good driver because I don't like saying a good driver, and I say a flexible driver more than anything. That's what makes a flexible driver.
Well, this thing's fun. Yeah, it's playful, super playful. It's dicey at the rear end, and but the other thing I think you've touched on previously is these don't like speed bumps.
No, they hate speed bumps, and it's in that 12-year-old I'll tell you about. I hate speed bumps in Bingley 80, and if you come up to our end, I'll take you. Speed bumps they're about 10 mile an hour, and you go boom, boom, and I hit them at 80. Everything just dropped down, radio dropped out, warning lights happening.
In these, as opposed to what? What's better at speed bumps than a BM?
Subaru Impreza.
So I've seen, some of police cars I've seen are Subarus, aren't they?
Yeah. So they've got all sorts of cars you can have, but they all say they're on a list. Now, if you ask anybody, this list is imaginary. No one knows. That's why East Yorkshire might have Subarus, West Yorkshire might have BMs, South Yorkshire might have Evos. No one knows. So I've just been to Liverpool. They've got a Kia.
Right. That's not going to catch much, is it?
Well, it's a Kia Stinger V6 or 3.3 turbo.
Right. I take it back.
4.6 and 170 mile an hour top speed.
Okay.
It's rear wheel drive.
Interesting.
Yeah. Where are we going now?
Well, I think we should go and try the Explorer now. Yeah. So I'll ping it round.